so many greats. You're never going to make it. That was the stupidest thing you could have ever done. You're too short. You're too fat. You're not what we're looking for. Nobody's ever going to hire you. He's better than you. He has more experience than you. He's a better leader than you. I'm not good enough. They're right. I'm never going to make it. Who am I kidding? I'm too slow. I'm too short. I'm too fat. I'd be hard pressed to find anybody in this room that has not heard nor said something similar. See, we live in a life where everybody has opinions and they are fast and ready to offer theirs. I remember when I was 9, give or take, I was walking down to the grocery store with my grandmother and I proclaimed, as if I was like Christopher Columbus discovering America, I said, Grandma, one day I'm going to be a lawyer. And she said, why? There's already so many greats. I thought to myself, like, wait, what? You're my grandmother. Are you going to encourage me? And that was the first time I encountered somebody that didn't believe in me. And I was taken back by like, huh? But now that I realize, my grandmother was born in the 1920s. And I mean, women did not even own property for the first 56 years of her life. So she, at the time, couldn't fathom a woman climbing the ranks of a male-dominated world, much less be great at it. So from her perspective of her life, she was kind of trying to tame me down because she was fearful of me not succeeding. Fast forward a couple of years, and I decided I was going to join the Navy. And I didn't tell a single person besides my brother because he was in the Marines, and he told me not to join the Marines. Well, funny story, right? So I go off and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And then I go back to school and I tell my cheerleading coach, like, I'm off to boot camp. And she said, that's the stupidest thing you could have ever done. And I'm like, what? Because I'm too dizzy, right? And now fast forward about 10 years, I actually had the opportunity to sit down with her and say, like, why'd you say that to me? I was so proud of this decision I had made on my own, and you just cut me down. And she said, it's because I was scared. We were at war, and I love you, and I was scared of your future. But you know what? I didn't hear, I love you. I didn't hear, I'm scared for you. I heard, you're stupid. Yeah. So you know what? I go off. Join the Navy. Mind you, I just have to say that today marks the 18th anniversary of my boot camp graduation. So we're really talking about boots and heels. Thank you. Right? So I just, playing back 18 years ago, I strut out onto the parade deck pretty much just like this. And my brother, the Marine, was there, and he's like, Nicole, that is not marching. I'm like, listen, I was just so happy they let me graduate. So I'm in the military, and guess what? I'm too short. I can't run fast enough. I'm too fat. So my dream of going seaman to admiral, of being this lawyer, had started to look a little different. And I remember going through the military and, nobody's ever going to hire you, and you're never going to be good enough. And I was like, no, but I am, right? I am. I knew something was deeper inside of me. And we had these flak jackets with these bulletproof things, and they were big. I looked like I was going to war every day. And I'll tell you, I look funny. And I was in Georgia. The war was overseas. It wasn't in Georgia. So I'm sorry, ma'am, but I took out my Sappy plate and I put my homework in it. Okay? And I went to work and I stood in line with my rifle and then they'd come around and they'd start punching you in the chest. Oh, sexual harassment. You got hit in the back, right? It's just because I was ready to make something of myself. I believed in myself despite what everybody was saying around me. I was the underdog. And so I got stationed overseas. Mind you, this whole time I had been going to school, getting my degree, and I wanted to go take my LSATs, my law school admissions test. And I had to take a boat, a plane, and a train to get there. And I remember praying. I said, dear God, I don't need to be great. I just need to be good enough. Right? And then I get back from where I had to take him in Italy, and I got back to my duty station in Greece, and then I met this chief. The chief, he's like my superior. I worked for him. And my chief had a different view of me, right? And all of a sudden, I was his favorite, and he was not mine. So, anyways, I felt myself being incredibly depressed. He was following me to the gym. He was blowing my phone up. It was bad. And I remember going to the commanding officer and saying, you know, I'm losing myself. I cried, I broke down, I really did lose myself. And then you hear all these chatter. Oh, nobody's ever gonna hire you. No law firm's ever gonna hire you. And then I got my LSAT score back. I felt like Elle Woods. Like, man, I said just good enough, right? I don't even know if they had a score that low. And I was like, they're right. Who am I kidding? I'm never going to be a lawyer. I'm never going to make it. I should accept my fate. I should re-enlist. Then I watched this video about all these greats that failed. And then I said, at that time, I was like, no, God, get out of my mind. That moment, I signed back up again. And I went back on the boat, on the plane, on the train, got to the testing center. I said, okay, this time, God, a little more than good enough, right? And so I get back, and this part, I stood up for myself when I felt somebody was trying to take my dignity from me, and I got trampled. Man, when I reported the sexual assault and harassment, I had retaliation. The woman, the officer that you're supposed to report sexual assault and harassment to, she was not my fan. And people behind closed doors told me, she is not your fan. And that was hard. It was hard. So that was really how I got out of the military, right? It was like, damn, you're supposed to be my champion. I told you that I was going through something. I told you what I was feeling and what I was up against, and you didn't help. So I go off and I get into law school. I don't know a single soul there, and I had never gone to a traditional college, so I really felt like an underdog. I'd never sat through a lecture. I'd never taken a final. I just wrote a bunch of papers. Did online school. And so I was not at the top. And I remember going through law school, and we were getting ready for the bar, and this lady in admissions, she's like, you should probably move out of state and take another bar because you're not going to pass California. At this point, there's so many people that told me I couldn't do something, so instead I just said, all right, well, watch me. Top 96% of the class, people. Right? Okay, that's also the bottom 4. But nobody will ever tell me that I didn't ace the bar exam, because I did pass the bar, right, and then become a lawyer. And I went on, I think I applied for jobs for a couple of days, and that's $38,000. You are not going to get me to show up on time for it. No, right? I knew that there was something more inside of me, so I went out and I camped out on the library floor reading all these books, how to start a law firm. And I did. And I remember one of my first clients, another female veteran up in LA, she was getting evicted. And so I drive up to LA. I'm from San Diego. I do not know where I am going. I am so lost. And of course, I'm late. And I'm like driving and she's calling and I'm, next thing I know, my coffee just like all over me. So now I'm into the LA courthouse. And, LA lawyers are very much like the Hollywood lawyers. And here I am. I got a strut to my step, but it is not because I am confident. It is because I'm hiding the coffee. So I get in there, and I don't know what I am doing, but I know I have a female veteran who is facing eviction and homelessness, and I got to stop it somehow. And so luckily, I did. Go home later that day, and I'm going to go to this very, very fancy event where they have valet parking at this guy's house, and my car was not valet worthy. So I parked around the corner, and I'm in the mirror, and I'm like this. Hi, I'm Nicole. And that's how I got my start, right? I championed that woman. I championed that woman veteran that was getting evicted, and I said, hey, sister, you're not alone. I got you. I don't know what I'm doing as a blind leading the blind, but I got you. So then fast forward, I have my own practice, and I get a Facebook message from a girl I served with, and she said, I need to get out of my marriage. She was stationed in Italy. Her husband was an alcoholic, and he pushed her down the stairs when he came home one night. She had 2 small children. And she said, he cut me off of all the financial resources. I have no money. I don't know what to do, but I need to get out. I said, okay, I don't know what to do either, but let's figure this out together. And I filed this emergency motion in court. And oh my gosh. So I go to court. And the judge looked at me and he said, counsel, I do not have jurisdiction to order the army to send her back to the United States, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, but at least I tried, because what if you did, right? So I wasn't afraid to get laughed out of court, not for the first and not for the second. And although I couldn't get the emergency order that I wanted for the army to send her home, I stuck by it with her. And I'm so glad I did, because today she bought her own house, is a project manager, and I am now doing the adoption for her husband to adopt her 2 small children after her husband is so cool, right? So cool. And so the thing is that we have opinions of other people. They do not have the ability to see life through your eyes. You are worthy of success. You are worthy of love. You are beautiful. You're worthy of reaching deep down into your core and pulling out that grit. You're worthy of all of it. And don't let other people's opinions shield that. And there's a really popular saying, I'm sure you've all heard it, it's lonely at the top. Mm-hmm. That is only if you travel alone. So on your journey to higher, take somebody with you. Say, hey, I might not know the way, but if we go together, we'll have a good time. Right? So in that, remember, there is truth and then there is opinions. Only you know the truth about you. Everybody else can have an opinion. And like my grandmother, she doesn't have the same vision I did. And as my cheerleading coach, her words were not her message. So remember that. Believe in yourself and take somebody along for the wild ride.